For 1,000 years, Earth had been silent, a forgotten world drifting in the cold darkness of space. No lights, no voices, no sign of life. Only dust, ruins, and memories remained. The galaxy had moved on, calling it the silent grave of Earth. But one ship, Eclipse Voyager, dared to return. It was a small human research vessel, crewed by descendants of the last survivors. They came searching for history, for proof that their home once existed. Captain Arlen stood at the window watching the gray planet below. "Hard to believe," he whispered. "This is where it all began." The scanners picked up strange signals from deep within the planet's crust. At first, the crew thought it was just magnetic interference, but then the sound grew stronger. Slow, rhythmic pulses like a heartbeat. "Captain," said the comms officer nervously, "it's coming from under the Pacific." "And it's not natural," Arlen frowned. "Put it on speakers." A deep metallic echo filled the ship. Then a faint voice broke through the static. The words were old, distorted, and chilling. "Project Leviathan. Awakening sequence. Initiated." The crew froze. No one spoke. The ground beneath Earth's oceans began to tremble. Massive waves formed across the planet. The sensors showed movement. Something enormous was rising from under the sea. Captain Arlen's voice shook. "That's impossible. Nothing human could survive that long." And yet, as lightning flashed over the ocean, a dark shape broke through the waves in a giant structure of steel and shadow. The forgotten planet was waking up. Something ancient, something powerful, was returning, and the galaxy had no idea what was coming next. The ocean roared like a beast. Waves rose hundreds of meters high, circling the point of disturbance. Deep below, metal ground against rock as something vast began to move for the first time in centuries. The crew of the Eclipse Voyager watched in stunned silence. Their instruments went wild, energy readings beyond anything human technology had ever recorded. "Captain, it's not a base," whispered the engineer. "It's a ship." A low hum spread across the planet, shaking the air itself. The clouds swirled above the Pacific, forming a massive spiral. From its center, a mountain of metal slowly emerged, black armor gleaming beneath the storm. Blue lines of light ran through its surface like veins, pulsing brighter with every second. The ship's hull was covered in strange markings, ancient, human, and proud. It was bigger than any city, yet it moved with grace, rising from the water as if gravity itself had bowed before it. "Impossible," Arlen breathed. "It's alive." The AI of the Eclipse Voyager suddenly activated on its own, voice trembling with static. Identification confirmed. HSS Nemesis, Earth Defense Command prototype. Awakening complete. The crew stared at each other, their hearts racing. No one had ever heard of the Nemesis. No record existed of such a ship. It was like a ghost from humanity's forgotten past. The storm quieted. Lightning stopped. The giant dreadnought hovered silently over the ocean. Then for the first time in 1,000 years, Earth's sky echoed with a deep mechanical voice. "Protocol Leviathan active. Humanity will rise again." Captain Arlen felt a chill run through him. He realized they hadn't discovered history. They had woken it up. Across the galaxy, deep space sensors flared alive. Massive energy spikes, never seen in 1,000 years, erupted from the Sol system. Every alien monitoring station picked it up. In less than an hour, the news spread to every corner of the known universe. Something on Earth has awakened. In the grand halls of the Galactic Council, chaos erupted. Dozens of alien ambassadors shouted over one another, their voices echoing through the chamber. Some called it impossible. Others whispered the old legend about humanity, the lost race that once fought the galaxy and vanished without a trace. "Humans cannot return," hissed a scaled official from the Drawl Dominion. "They are extinct." But the hologram on the council floor showed otherwise. A massive dreadnought now floated above the blue planet, glowing with terrifying energy. Its power output was equal to 1,000 war fleets. In distant star systems, military commanders began to panic. Fleets were moved. Battle plans updated. Even the mighty Terrene Empire, known for its cold confidence, ordered silence along its borders. Meanwhile, aboard the Eclipse Voyager, Captain Arlen watched as hundreds of alien transmissions filled the comm screen. Some demanded explanations. Others offered alliances, but most were filled with fear. "Captain," said the comms officer quietly. They all want to know the same thing. Arlen turned.
What's that?
The officer swallowed. Is humanity coming back? Before Arlen could answer, the dreadnought moved. Its engines ignited, releasing a blinding blue light that shook the sky. Then a voice echoed through the entire system. Across every open channel, we never left. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy remembered why it once feared the name humanity. The message, we never left, spread like wildfire. Across the galaxy, billions stopped whatever they were doing and looked to the stars. Some trembled, some cheered, and some, in the deepest corners of forgotten space, wept. Far beyond the reach of the Council, in hidden human colonies scattered across distant worlds, people felt the call. The children of Earth, long lost, long silent, looked to the sky and saw a symbol they had only heard about in stories, the shining blue mark of Project Leviathan. On the mining world of Helion 9, an old mechanic named Jonas wiped dust from an ancient screen. When the signal appeared, his hands began to shake. It's true, he whispered, tears forming in his eyes. Earth lives. In every colony, humans began transmitting a single word across subspace. Home. The HSS Nemesis, now fully awake, pulsed with light as if hearing their voices. Deep inside its core, systems long dormant began to reactivate. Gateways, defense grids, and a beacon coded in the DNA of humanity itself. Aboard the Eclipse Voyager, Captain Arlen watched as hundreds of new contacts appeared on his radar. Human ships, small and scattered, all turning toward Earth. They're coming, whispered his first officer. Not just them, Arlen replied, eyes wide. They're all coming home. For centuries, aliens believed humanity was gone forever. But now across the void, the lost children of Earth were returning, not as refugees, but as survivors. The galaxy watched as the stars began to move. One by one, the humans were gathering, and the universe felt the shift. Something unstoppable was rising again. The galaxy could not stay silent any longer. Fear turned into panic, and panic into violence. The alien empires, terrified of what Earth's return could mean, decided to strike first. Fleets began to move toward the Sol system, millions of ships forming an armada so large it blackened the stars. Inside the Eclipse Voyager, alarms blared. Captain Arlen stared at the incoming readings. That's half the Council's navy, he muttered. They're coming for Earth. But the HSS Nemesis did not move. It floated above the blue planet, silent and waiting. Then as the enemy fleets approached, its core began to glow. Massive energy waves rippled through space, bending gravity itself. The first alien ships opened fire. Beams of plasma streaked through the void, striking Earth's atmosphere. But before they could touch the planet, a shimmering barrier appeared. The attacks vanished into nothingness. From the dreadnought's hull, panels opened, revealing enormous cannons powered by light itself. A single pulse fired. In an instant, an entire fleet disappeared, not destroyed but erased like it had never existed. Gasps echoed across the alien command bridges. None had ever seen such power. This isn't a warship, whispered a terrified admiral. It's a god. The Nemesis finally spoke again, its voice cold and deep, echoing across every frequency. You feared our silence. Now you will remember our voice. In seconds, the battlefield became chaos. Alien ships scattered in terror as the dreadnought moved with impossible speed, cutting through their lines like a blade of light. Captain Arlen watched in awe. It's not fighting to win, he said quietly. It's fighting to warn them. And as the flames of war spread, the galaxy realized humanity had returned. And it was unstoppable. The battlefield drifted in silence. The alien armadas that once filled the skies were gone, scattered wreckage floating among the stars. What had taken them millennia to build was undone in a single day. The HSS Nemesis hovered quietly over Earth, its lights dimming, its weapons folding back into place. It had not fought for conquest. It had fought for remembrance. Inside the Eclipse Voyager, Captain Arlen stared at the view with trembling hands. The planet below shimmered with blue light. Oceans calming, clouds clearing, as if Earth itself was breathing again. What happens now? Whispered the first officer. Arlen looked at her, his voice low. Now the galaxy listens. Across distant worlds, the message arrived. A transmission from the Nemesis carried on every frequency, in every tongue. We were forgotten. We were buried. But we endured. We do not seek war. We seek respect. Remember this day and remember who we are. Every alien world went silent. No one dared to answer. No one dared to challenge. In hidden human colonies, people cried and cheered at once. For the first time in centuries, they had a home to return to, and a name that meant something again. The Nemesis began to rise higher, engines humming softly. Its hull shimmered with the light of the stars. Then, without warning, it turned toward the void and vanished into hyperspace, leaving behind only echoes.